And so here we are again today. We have Candace Washington joining me for the conversation with Okema Timor. Oh my God, she'll kill me when I say that. But
What's
anyway, what's
up?
up? What's up? How you doing over
I'm
there?
doing well. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just unpack all of this with Okema. And like you said, it's Mental
Yes.
Health Awareness Month. And we know that mental health awareness goes beyond these 31 days. It's every
Beyond the
day,
30.
it's a daily walk, it's a daily
Hmm.
practice. So I think it's really dope that we're having these conversations
Right.
and fostering vulnerability
Indeed.
amongst the community, especially in the industry where a lot of times people are masking what it is that they're experiencing. So I think it's dope to have amazing, dope people like Okema come on and just
Hmm.
share their journey. So I'm excited.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we're waiting on Okema to send a request. She probably did already. Let me check. I'm not that great with this, and she sure did. She's always amazing. So I'm gonna bring her in a second. But prior to doing that, this is something that, as you mentioned, Candace, it's bigger than the 31 days.
Yeah.
This is an everyday thing, and this is not just in the industry of television and film. This is across the world, but especially in our community. So having these kind of conversations, hopefully, will be able to help bridge that gap between the mental health and what people think is not normal or not cool, and make sure that people are you know taking actual steps to get the support that they need.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to bring in Okema Timor, and here we go. I just accepted her. This thing takes about 5 extra seconds. Let's see who's in the room here. I see Nicole Bass. Hey, Nicole.
What's up,
What's going on?
Nicole?
ATL. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-oh, I see Okema. I see her. Hey, what's going on,
What's up,
Okema?
gorgeous? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing
Yeah,
good. I'm doing good. You look beautiful as always.
indeed.
Thank you.
Yeah, how are you doing over there?
I'm good.
Man, hold on. What's is there a delay?
Yeah,
I'm just
something's going on.
okay. I'm just checking out your background. I have like the fake, the regular curtains and some artistry stuff going on here. Candace has a bland background too, but behind
For
you, what's
some
going
reason,
on?
it's doubled. It's doubled. I don't know what's happening. I'm hearing all of the things behind that have happened already.
Really?
Oh, okay. So how
I'm
about
gonna
do you?
go out and come back
Yeah.
in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yep. Yep. Do that. Do that. Perfect.
Are you
Okay.
hearing
So
anything on your
without
end?
no, this
Okay, I'm
is
good on my end. Okay.
um
Just wanted to make
mine is
sure.
perfect.
Just wanted to
Right.
make sure.
I'm good. Let's check in with the people. Whoever's in this room, how are you feeling? Are you getting a double feedback or is everything okay on your end? Let us know as we're having this conversation. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so hey, listen, as I was waiting, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but the Knicks are playing. We're about to take down Boston, and so I'm really excited, man. It's just this is it. No offense,
I see
Jason.
the dopamine and it's just being released.
Oh yeah,
The dopamine and endorphins is just being released right
yeah,
now. I feel it.
yes.
Your
You
excitement.
feel it?
I
I'm
felt it.
excited. I'm excited. I'm sure by the time we're done with this conversation, the game is pretty much going to be almost over.
Yeah.
All right, so I see Okima's in here, so let's try to bring her back in. Everything looks and sounds good. Thank you, Kendrew Mitchell. We appreciate you.
Okay,
There you go.
I'm back. There we go.
You're
We're
I don't know
good?
what was
good.
happening the last time. Yeah, it was like I only saw me and Wink, and then it was like doing something wonky. I
Okay.
don't
Well, as
know what
long
was
as we're here
happening.
now,
Yes,
as long as okay,
it's good now. I'm good now.
good, good. Well, Okima, thank you. Thanks for agreeing to come on and hanging out with us. And
Thanks for having me.
as I mentioned to you, this is our second part to our four-part series. And you're one of the four brilliant creatives that we're speaking to during this month of Mental Health Awareness Month. And we're talking about the power of pause, mental health for creatives. And, we've had a lot of conversations about those kind of things over the past few months and the importance of it. And just wanted to get a chance to bring you into the conversation with us so the world can get a chance to hear Okima's perspective and also get a chance to know a little bit more about you. You're pretty brilliant over there. You're pretty brilliant.
That's a
Can
big
I
word. Thank you.
Yeah, would you mind if I read your bio just to kind of give a little taste of what we're dealing with here? Yeah.
Sure. It's always awkward when people read my bio, but go
All right.
ahead.
You,
No, we need
you can close your
to
eyes. We can
read
still
every
see you.
single word. We need to read every single word.
I got you. Okema Timur is an Emmy-nominated PGA producer, actor, and writing director. As an actress, you can see Okema on season 2 of Harlem on Amazon Prime and So Fly Christmas on BET Plus. Behind the lens, she created content for OWN, Netflix, Fox, Food Network, and more. She has been in a host of labs and fellowships, and her latest projects include directing the 2025 ABFF Black and Unlimited winning short film called Laundry, producing the Oscar qualified NAACP Image Award nominated short Chocolate with Sprinkles, and the Stars docuseries Down in the Valley, nominated for a 2025 GLAAD Award. Okema gives back to her community through her philanthropic, always get that word off, but I made it that time, efforts, her company, More Than Enough Media Incorporated, and by serving on the boards of both New York Women in Film and Television and the Black Television and Film Collective. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
Yes.
Okema Timor.
Yes.
Yes!
Amazing. How do you feel
Yeah, that's
hearing
dope.
that? How do you feel hearing that? Hearing all of the wonderful things that you've accomplished thus far and knowing that you haven't even scratched the surface of what you're capable of yet. Like,
Dude.
how does that feel?
Um, it's very awkward. Um, and it makes me feel very shy and very weird. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still learning how to. It's weird. When I feel slighted, I stand in all of that. But on an
Mm,
everyday basis, I be like, I'm still trying to figure it out like everybody.
yeah.
I only really
Hey.
own it when I feel like somebody is treating me like I don't know what I'm doing or I don't know what I'm talking about, or somebody is taking something from me that I know I earned and worked for.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm not threatened in whatever way, I it doesn't really phase me because I don't think I take enough time sometimes, like you talk about the power of pause. I'm still learning how to stop looking for the next thing and enjoy the thing that's happening now. I'm not very good at that. And
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm really working on that a lot because I know how important it is as creatives to not, like, we have to hustle for the next thing because you only eat what you kill,
hmm
Yeah.
but you can still savor the meal that you've just gotten, and it's okay. And sometimes I feel guilty
Right.
when I like think about all those things just because, not because I have to prove myself with them.
Mm.
Like,
Mm,
they're weapons for me. They're not. They're always. It's always. I weaponize my accolades when people try to pretend like I don't know what I'm doing. But outside
Mm-hmm.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
of that, I don't really sit in them very much.
Okay. That's
Mm.
good. So you're human. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby, as
You're
human
on the
as
ground with
they
everyone else.
come. As human
That's
as they
good.
come.
That's good.
As
That's
broken
good.
as they come. But I have made peace with most of my pieces. Therein lies the difference.
Say
Okay.
that again. You've made peace with your pieces.
Yeah, man. I cause some like there were a lot of broken things about me, and some things I was able to heal and some things I'm not. Some things I've accepted that is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
and it's okay. I just have to learn to live life with some of those things that don't go away, right?
mm,
And so I found a pretty box on the inside of myself, and I swept up those pieces and I put them inside that pretty little box. And every
mm,
now and again, when the box pops open, I have to address it. But I don't, it's not the sum total of who I am.
Yeah.
But
right.
it's things that were so deeply either traumatizing or affecting that I'm not going to sit and pretend like they're gone because they're
Mm,
not. I just
mm.
don't let them, infiltrate my world and turn it upside down the way they did when they happened.
Ah,
Mm.
okay. That's. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Let me ask
Yeah.
you something because
hmm
of what you just shared. How does that show up or transcend for you as a creative? You are an actor, you
hmm
are a director, you are a producer, you're a writer, and before you're all of those amazing things, you're Okema first. How does your humanity, or how has it in the past shown up in creative ways where you might have either had to mask that to get things done in the industry, or you were able to embrace the duality of your humanity while not allowing it to get in the way of what it is that you needed to do, meeting those deadlines, being on sets for, long hours at a time. How do you embrace both?
Um, I think in the early days of me pursuing this world, I didn't really have a lot of blueprints. Like now, the access that we have to our favorite heroes and sheroes, we get to see their humanity, their everyday life. They address their fallibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I didn't really have that. You know what I mean? Like I grew up pre social media. I started doing this pre, social media and virality and all of that. And so in the beginning, I didn't see an example of ownership and like culpability and accountability. And so I wasn't very good at managing people or interacting with people, especially if I felt my back was against the wall. I was terrible at it, actually. I was a nightmare. I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so my humanity showed up in all of the flaws and foibles and fallibility that I had. And because I only saw that in myself, because I didn't have like that encouragement in my family or in my sphere that much of the fact that I could do this thing I was chasing, I
Mm-hmm.
was always just not pleasant. Not pleasant, quick to point out everybody else's stuff, always blaming and pointing a finger, especially if it was like if it wasn't me, quick to point out it wasn't me before somebody else you know what I mean? Like it was all of that ugly. It was a lot of insecure, emotionally unintelligent behavior. And as I got older, both chronologically and emotionally and healing age and
Yeah.
in this thing, more experienced in this thing, I got to a place where I learned that my insecurities were my biggest problem, but they were also a me problem. And I was making them an outside problem.
Mm.
And so I had to learn to kind of balance that and figure that part out. And then it was also a situation of then I begun to think about all the things that were good about me, that I love
Yeah.
people,
Mhm.
that I love helping people, that I love loving on people and being a safe space for myself and for other people. Because I didn't know how to be a safe space for me. I only know how to do it for everybody else.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
when you don't have your own safe space, carrying all that then backfires, right?
Right.
So now it shows up in how I run my set, how I deal with conflict, how
Mm-hmm.
I vet my safe spaces, because there have been times in my career where I've gone to someone as a venting space and then they play run tell that and then it ruined a relationship when I was just trying to say what I was feeling in the moment thinking I was safe to do it.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's like it really does this game will either break you or grow you up
Or grow
no
you
matter
up.
how old you
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
Like I was a I left Wall Street at 36 to be a $10 an hour PA. Right? I left
Mm.
my six-figure job to ask
Yeah.
somebody how they want their coffee.
Mm.
And
Be a
that was
production.
a ego swallow for sure.
Mm.
But it was what I needed to put me in a place of less hubris and more humility. I don't like the word humble because people use it to diminish you. They
Yeah,
use
they weaponize
the
it.
word humbled, especially as a woman. Like I remember when Kendrick came out with that song, Be Humble, Sit Down. Um, I was like, ugh, because that's how people use that word. But humility is when I know I can rest in who and what I am and
Yeah.
I don't have to tout it. I remember one of my really close friends telling me, you don't have to make sure everybody knows that you're a smart person in the room. You don't have to say it. You don't have to be it. You don't have to live in that.
Yeah.
Just be you and they'll
Just
figure
be
it out.
you. Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the best lessons I ever learned. And that lesson helped me mature a lot quicker and be able to sit in a room and lend to conversation versus leading conversation when nobody asked me to.
Mm.
Emotional intelligence is
Indeed.
what you just really unpacked here.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, it took some time though, because ain't nothing like somebody having to teach you how to be a better version of you at almost 40.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you grew up
I,
around people who proudly live in their mess.
yeah. Yeah. I love that you've come to the point where you are so secure with yourself that you're okay to call out, those things that are not perfect. And in the same token, be able to acknowledge, what's great about you. I think that
Yeah.
does exactly what you have been saying earlier, which is balance. Offers you that balance, but it also lets folks know again that I'm on the ground. I know what this is. Yes, I have all these accolades, but I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm great. I'm great, and I'm going to continue to work toward that. It's an evolving process. It's never
Mm-hmm.
I'm one or the other, and sometimes we're great, sometimes we're greater than the last time, and sometimes we're worse than, we're always trying to live in our best self, and being able to acknowledge those things, is a huge piece. So that emotional intelligence, Candace just mentioned that's a huge part of that, so I appreciate that.
But it's ever
Um,
evolving. Cause like I remember saying to you, like this week, I feel like something really big is coming my way because I feel like the universe and God have been testing my resolve and my bounce back and my
And your
response all
response.
week,
Mm-hmm.
all
mhm,
week. And
mhm,
I've had to check myself constantly this week in my being reactionary versus being responsive.
respond.
And I used to be a very reactionary person and I had a reaction for everything.
Mhm,
And now I really try to edit myself to have a response if it's necessary,
mhm,
to be mindful of that response and the tone in that response and how it may be received or
yeah,
perceived. But
Yeah.
having some place safe where I can be like, what the like I need that too, because that's the only way for me to get
yeah,
to that other thing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think also one of the great nuggets that came from what I recall in that convo was also the power of what are the things we can control, right? And
That's a big one.
looking, oh, absolutely, and looking at that, saying, all right, cool. Next time, or as I continue to grow and evolve, I can affect these things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to carry those things along with me to make that affect the process. So, yeah. So then and so these are, believe it or not, this is a conversation that comes at ease with you. It's not as easy for everybody, right? The ability to look at themselves, the ability to be introspective enough to say, "Hey, I know that I'm on a pendulum." You know what I'm saying? We all are, and all these different things can affect our moods along the way, right? Our primary goal would be, in your case, right, directing a show, but you're coming to set with everything else that just happened to you in life.
Yeah, you
You
bring who
know,
you are.
you bring
Child, because
who you
sometimes
are.
that pendulum is like Miley Cyrus on that wrecking ball in that video. Like sometimes it's a pendulum and sometimes it is a wrecking ball, child. And so when it's a
Yeah.
wrecking ball,
Hmm.
recognizing that like you don't have to hit the building. You
Yeah.
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 don't have to
You
hit
don't
the
have
building.
Yeah.
to. Yeah. And that goes back to the power of pause, knowing that there's power in that.
Hmm.
But you have a lot of times that comes with seeing it in action. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen people win by taking a breath,
Mm.
by taking a beat, but I've also
Mm-hmm.
seen people lose it all because they didn't.
Because
And
they
so
didn't. Yeah.
I've seen more of that than the
So,
former, right? And
mm-hmm.
so that for me has been the red flag. Like, hey, chick, you keep this up, you're gonna be there. You gonna that's gonna be you.
Hmm.
Because I remember, and I quote this a lot when I'm talking because it just lives with me so hard. I remember years ago, has to be 25 or so years ago, maybe even 30 years ago. I remember my pastor, Elder Bernard, Pastor Bernard, over at Christian Culture Center. I've been with Pastor Bernard since we were a storefront
Mm-hmm.
in Brownsville. Like before he was a mega church and he was A.R. Bernard. I remember when he was just Pastor Bernard with all the kids
Mm.
on in Brownsville. And I
Uh-huh.
remember him saying we were probably at the second church before we got to CCC. We were CLC on Linden Boulevard, and I think we were like we had just gotten into that building, and he was talking about what this glow up and this, we didn't use the term glow up at the time, but what this glow up meant for him and who he needed to be in that. And he was like, he was like, I'm good looking and I'm charismatic and I'm really smart, but your looks and your intelligence and your knowledge and your charisma will get you only so far. It is your integrity that will keep you there.
Mm.
The
And right now, we
character.
are consistently watching people that we lauded and that we
Mm-hmm.
loved fall because of a lack of integrity and character.
Yeah.
And so every time I step out of my character, to feel like I'm addressing somebody or I'm gonna check you about who. Every time I have to do that, or every time I allow myself to do that in a way that's not productive, I pay for it in some
Mm,
way. Either
mm,
I feel bad, so it's internal,
mm,
or then what I meant is misconstrued
right.
because of the tone or the delivery of the thing,
Mhm,
or I talked to the wrong person, or
mhm,
Yeah.
whatever. And so I just got to a place where it was like, yo, I'm tired of paying for my anger.
mm,
How can I fix that? How can I fix always be like, why am I so angry? Why
mm,
does
Right.
being overlooked make me so angry? Why does being just because it happened to me most of my career and even in my familial space,
Mm,
right? I was chastised for being emotional and sensitive and those things. And so I've carried all of that with me. So when it was done in a business sense, or when I knew somebody was intentionally trying to diminish me, I,
mhm.
you blow up. That's when that little
Yeah.
pendulum becomes a wrecking
That's when
ball, and
that
it's like,
volcano
ah.
erupts.
And so to go back to what Wink was saying about what you can control, like my therapist used to always talk to me about my circle of control. And
mhm,
she's like, if it's
Mm-hmm.
outside of your circle of
Outside.
control, if
Yeah.
it's outside of your circle of
mhm,
control, that means it's outside of what you can deal with. And so you can't, even if you want to, you have to figure out how to make it about you and what you can control. And like, even as leadership, I found myself in the last few years understanding and telling the people that I lead, you see that person that you're pointing at and blaming and all of that, I want you to take that same finger and turn it around and
mm,
make that person give you a solution and stop talking about the
mm,
problem.
mm.
Yeah. I love
And I
that
had to learn
you
how to do
said
that
that.
for myself.
I love that you said that,
Mm,
even talking about anger, because I always share anger isn't unhealthy, it's what we do with the anger, how you respond
yeah.
to the anger, because anger is an emotion, and our emotions is information.
Mhm,
So if it's there, it's information
Mm.
and saying that there's something happening in the environment that's bringing these feelings and emotions up. So talking about the importance of emotional intelligence, what have you experienced or seen where you have to say, before coming into this business, if there's someone watching, how important is mental resiliency and emotional fortitude?
mm,
And because you can be the most talented person, you can have the most dope skills in front of the camera and behind.
yeah.
But that emotional and mental fortitude and resiliency, especially in an industry where you're on in the spotlight, constant criticism of everything that you do. We live in a social media driven world, digital world. So, how important is it for creatives to really be anchored emotionally and psychologically?
It is the difference between those that are no longer here due to physical or chronological age and those who are not here because of their own hand often.
Mm,
Um, as a two-time suicide survivor, I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be helpless and feel like there is no other recourse,
Mhm,
right? I know that. But I was
and thank you for still
fortunate.
being here, Okema. I have to
yeah.
pause and share that.
Indeed.
Thank you for still being here.
Um, but I had to learn how to understand that I'm supposed to still be here even when it's hard,
Yeah.
even when it's not fruitful fiscally, when it's not
Mhm.
fruitful progressively, when no one knows your name, when you've worked so hard on something but you didn't get the credit or you didn't get paid or you didn't get the credit or got paid. Like
Mm,
you
And that's
you
real. Like you're talking, like
baby,
that's
listen.
just what
There
happens.
are a few albums floating around in the music world that we love that my voice is on, that my name is not, and my checks never showed up.
mm,
I know, right?
Yeah.
But anyone coming into this business now, before you get here, get a therapist
mm,
or get
Yeah.
a space where you can speak to someone unbiased that is not a yes person for you,
Yeah.
mm,
that you
mm,
can receive correction from properly,
Yeah.
because you're going to be wrong at times when you know you aren't. How you going to deal with that?
right.
Or you going to work real hard on something and it's not going to fly. It might even flop.
Mhm,
Are you going to take that
Mm.
as you aren't good enough or the work just didn't resonate? And now you got to try something different.
mm,
Something that has been working for you forever will no longer work in any way, shape, or form. Now what? You have been coasting and making 6 and 7 figures, and then you struggling to make 5. What you gonna do? So like there is no guarantee, and there's not even a structure anymore in this game. In whatever part of the game you're in, whether you're the talent, whether you are the management, with it's all non-guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
It's all unguaranteed, and then it also ebbs and flows. And in the economy and the unfortunate way that our erasure and ignoring and dismissal is prevalent all over, you're not always going to be called out or given the opportunity or whatever. Like black is not the new black anymore. Black
Mm-hmm.
is the old black.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, you have to come in here finding validation within your tribe and yourself. It's never going to just be yourself. People that say, oh, it's all in me, that's bull. Somebody else gives you something that makes you feel like you belong or you are worthy, whether it's your God, whether it's your, like whatever it is, there, everybody still taps from an external source as well. But you got to find a tribe that is strong and safe for you. And you have to, for yourself, know that you can stand up and be confident about who and what you are, even when the world doesn't know or says you are not. Like I tell creatives all the time, if you're an actor, you're an actor. I don't care if you've never been on national television. I don't care if you've been on national television and you ain't on national television anymore. If you still practice the craft in whatever way, I don't care if it's in your mirror, in your nana's basement, at the church picnic. If you are an actor, you are an actor. If you are a writer, you are a writer. You're not an aspiring writer if you write every day.
Yeah.
Just because your writing
Oh,
is
can you
not on
say that
television,
again
like
about
you're
aspiring?
not an aspiring anything if you're
Are
doing the
what you
thing.
are.
It doesn't matter the medium or the size of the stage. The stage could be your mama's living room.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're
Doing
doing
the
the
work.
thing, if you're
You're
in
doing
class,
the
if you're
work.
auditioning,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter if you haven't booked a thing yet. If you're auditioning, you're an actor.
Yeah.
So like as creatives, we feel like we can only name these things that we are if we're doing them on this grandiose stage or grandiose way, and that's not true. And when that's what your aim is, then you're not aiming to be great at your thing, you're aiming to be famous. And if you're here for the fame, find something else. If you're here for the
Can you
money, find
break
something
that
else,
down? If you're here for the fame, find something else. Can you
because
unpack
you
that?
can't guarantee
Right.
fame. And then
That's real.
let's not talk about the people that are famous just to be famous or famous for not wonderful things. Like, so what kind of fame you looking for? Whereas if you're good, you're good. Think about how many actors you don't know their name, but baby, they in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's that guy. They don't care you don't know their name. Their residuals checks clear.
Yes.
So are
Mm-hmm.
you here for everyone to know you?
Right.
Or are you here so that you can do the thing you love and be known for that and be known for being good at that? Because
Good.
the byproduct is everyone will know you. They may not know you by name, but they're going to know you. There is
Right.
that one or two, there's those one or two actors. You can't tell you anybody their names. But you can be like, oh no, I saw him in this and this and this, because they stay working. Or my favorite, when people are like, oh, they got typecast. Baby, the root word is cast.
You know, you said something that came up in our last
Okema.
conversation. I
Yes.
know. You talked about doing the work. That's such a critical piece, you know. Not everyone, and I get it, not everyone understands how to get to that goal, right? Or they don't know how everyone has gotten there. And they sometimes you even think, some folks think that there's a formula. Hey, I watched this person take 2 steps in the jump. I'm going to do 2 steps in the jump and get there, you know, and sometimes it doesn't equal the same,
Most
you know,
times it don't.
right?
Most
So
times it doesn't.
so sometimes it's hard to just focus on that goal. And so one of the things I always try to encourage folks to do is focus on the work, focus on the process. The process will take you to that goal. And when you make the process about growth, when you make the process about you know, your actual job and your role, then anything else that comes of it is the sweet nugget of it all. You know, so I appreciate you bringing that up because that was something that came up in our previous conversation as well.
Well,
So
Steve Urkel was
mhm,
only supposed to be in one
Yeah.
episode.
right,
I saw that
yeah,
in the interview
One
recently.
episode. He was supposed to be in one episode, baby, and he
yeah,
Yeah.
became the flagship of that entire show.
absolutely,
The gentleman that plays the janitor on Abbott
hmm
Elementary, one
Yes. Love
episode.
him.
He
Hey,
was
Love
only supposed
him.
to be in one episode.
I did
He was a
not
day
know that.
player.
I've
He
I
had
was
did
a
not know
day.
that.
He was hired as a day player.
Hey, listen, I've had the pleasure of working with someone who went from bully number one, to series
Correct.
regular,
Exactly.
a season or two down the
And
road.
Mm-hmm.
You
that's the thing.
know,
It's like you have to focus on, again, it's that circle of control. You
yes.
know, you cannot control if they book you, right?
Mm,
Like I just had a second interview for a showrunner job.
mm,
Now, this
Mm-hmm.
same company I interviewed for a showrunner job with a year and a half ago, I didn't book it.
mm-hmm.
They came
Mm-hmm.
to me about this new show. So I didn't book the job, but
Book
clearly I booked the
You
room
booked
the
because they
room.
came back
the
to me.
room.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right. So even when we think that something is not working, we don't know if it's just not the universe or God's timing for us for that thing. But if you focus on the process, I made sure that when I had that first interview, I was kind. I listened. I spoke and spoke up for myself. I said what I could do. I gave my ideas. I gave my thank you notes after the interview so that I looked respectful and
Mm-hmm.
responsible. When I did not get the job, I still went back and said, thank you for
Yes.
considering me.
Yes.
So I hope that we can find synergy to work together again in the future. And they found me
Right.
again. Now I may not book it. Who knows? But the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they came back to
And
me,
the
if
fact
I
that
don't
they
book this,
remember
they're going to see
you.
me
Right.
again. They're going to come to me again.
Yeah, and I bet you didn't do that just to check the boxes. I bet that you committed to that process
But that's
and you felt
the
comfortable
thing.
with
It's the
walking
but
away
it's the
saying, I'm
process.
fine. Yeah.
And you have
Yeah.
to. And even if you're not fine, you have to tell yourself you are until you get to a place where you are. Because you're not going to be fine with with the disappointment
No,
or the rejection initially.
receive it.
Like,
Yeah.
let's be real. We are
Mm-hmm.
spirits that inhabit human
Mm-hmm.
bodies, and the
Yes.
human
And you have
situation
experiences.
takes over,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But the other piece about it is doing the work is also losing the need for motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is how you get
Mm-hmm.
there. Like I am not motivated to go to the gym. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. But you know what I hate more? Not fitting my jeans. Know what I hate more? Putting on something and seeing rolls that don't belong. I like my rolls on the table, not on my back. So like I got to go to the gym. I gotta
I
go
just
to the
had to laugh
gym.
at that. That was
Listen,
hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I
cause is
I
never
a
heard
heard
it
it like
before, but
that
the
family.
way you said it,
before.
I heard that before, but the way you
I
said it,
haven't.
it just hit different.
Yo, that's
I
the thing.
love it,
Like
Queen.
I like my rolls on my table, not on my
I've
back. So I'm
never
gonna go to this
heard
gym,
that.
That's
right?
hilarious.
And perimenopause is like, aha.
Yeah,
So like
that's
I don't have,
dope.
but I don't go to the gym because I'm motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just now that my body is disciplined that if I don't work out at least 3 or 4 times a week, I mentally feel it. The gym is another mental thing for me.
Mm,
Yeah.
It's another outlet. It's something I can control. I can control how strong I am because I go to the gym and work at it.
mm-hmm,
It's okay if I don't lose the weight. Like the numbers on the scale have moved up for me, not down, but I see my composition adjusting.
mm-hmm,
And it's
So
the
I realize
process of
so
it.
that and that's the but that's also this industry.
mm,
The numbers on the scale don't change for me. Sometimes they go up, but my body has changed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't book the gig, but you book the room and it comes back
And it comes
later.
back.
Sometimes
mm-hmm.
you book bully number one and you wanted the lead, but then the lead gets sick and bully number one becomes the lead.
It
Ask
becomes a
Stephen
lead.
Cofield.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the
That's
actor
good.
Stephen Cofield,
Mm-hmm.
we Stephen Cofield was in a short of hours when
Mm-hmm.
I was with my former business partner. He was the waiter.
Mm-hmm.
The lead that we had was problematic, so we got rid of him, and Stephen Cofield became the lead. And
Mm-hmm.
then at that time, somebody that I know and I'm very close to, that you are too, Lamar K. Cheston, wanted to just be in a film. So Lamar
Yeah.
became the waiter.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't even booked.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that one person that messed it up gave two people an
Two
opportunity to
people
move
in our
up in on the cater
yes.
because both of those people weren't concerned about what role they booked. They just wanted to book one,
Good work.
It
and
just
they
wants to
showed up
work.
prepared with lead role energy
Mm,
and talent to do this one line or two lines.
right.
So it's like
You just said
show up.
something. You just said something about lead role
Energy.
energy. How
Mm-hmm.
important is it? Because that starts with the mind. You know, our thoughts impact how we feel, how we emote, and then that influences how we behave and how we show up. how important is it? Because in reality, every day isn't a good day, right?
Mhm.
Today is
But
sucked, but here we
but
are.
here we are, yeah.
Mhm.
And Wink said something recently about you are the business. Is that how you said it, Wink?
Mhm. Mhm.
So how do you, in an industry where it's unpredictable at times, you
It's
don't know
unpredictable all the
when,
time.
well, yes, all the time. You don't know at times when the next project is coming in. Handling many rejections, a lot of no's. What would you say to someone to motivate them, to encourage them to show up full, realistically all the time? Or is that even realistic? And that's where boundaries come into play, and being
Mhm.
able to disengage and say, I don't have it today. Let me take this pause and then do it again. Maybe that wasn't the project for me. So, can you talk about how you stayed motivated in the midst of everything I just shared?
Mhm.
Half the time I was not motivated, which is why I say I don't move off of motivation, I move off of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not motivated sometimes. Like I literally had to reinstall Instagram to do this because I went off of Instagram this weekend. I deleted it from all of my devices.
Mm-hmm.
The Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, all of it. I got rid of all of it because it was just overwhelming me because I'm not progressing in the space that I want to be. And I never want to envy my friends that are progressing. And so the way that that happens is if I don't see it, then I can stop, pause, focus on Okema and not worry about being distracted by who else is progressing when I'm not.
Mhm.
Right? Because I'm very honest about the fact that I don't live to envy anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't benefit me, right? And when you are feeling a little like I've been feeling a little down and a little like, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And when you're feeling, and so when you're feeling, I'm not on E, but I'm not on F, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I am not in a space to be receptive to motivation right now.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
honest
Yeah.
about that. So
Okay.
because I'm not in a motivated space, watching your progression, if I love you or even if I admire you, I'm happy for you, like legitimately. But I'm not motivated by your progression because right now it's making me feel less than. So it's easier for me to not see it so that I'm not engaged, not because I don't want to cheer you on, because I'm trying to cheer me up. So I'm going to not
Mm-hmm.
do it. And I'm going to now focus on the discipline of what I'm supposed to do. I am the lead in a short next month. Am I learning my lines? Am I with my coach? Am I putting on the skin of this character rather than scrolling and looking at your accolades? Am I doing what I need to do to make a performance that can potentially equal accolades of my own? I have to go shoot a project next week. Am I getting myself prepped for that? Am I fixing my sleep pattern now that's been janky AF so that I can rest and be able to juggle going to direct a documentary, prepping to potentially showrun a show, and being the lead in something, and going to this festival? Like, am I doing what I need to do? So I had to cut everything out so that I could not rest on being motivated but being disciplined to do what I need to do. Like I know that I don't sleep well, but I also know that I will lay in the bed sleepy until I fall asleep with the TV on or whatever. Now I turn on the rain
Yeah.
sounds. I turn
Yeah.
off all the lights
Meditative
like I'm 5
practices.
years old.
Mm-hmm.
All my devices stay in the living room. I do not take electronics into the bedroom at night anymore. And I put myself to bed like a child
Mm-hmm.
so that I can get a sleep pattern going so that I can do what I need to do and have the energy to do it because I've been heavily fatigued for the last several months. I've had insomnia for months, but I've not been taking care of
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, your
And so
mind.
that's why it's all been kind of jumbled and mumbled. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do I what do I tell somebody about how you balance it all? You don't. There is no such thing truly as balance. Whatever
Yes.
you're not doing is going to suffer for what you are doing. You just have to figure out how to make it as minimally effective to that suffering as possible. Like there realistically in this life there's very little balance that exists. It really isn't.
Mhm.
And so you have to figure out how to compartmentalize yourself as best you can so that the thing that is lacking or lacking your attention doesn't die on the vine.
Mm,
Maybe it might wilt a little bit, but if you bring a little water, bring a little food, bring a little sunshine, it'll bloom again.
right,
But whatever flower you're tending to, something's going to wilt. You just don't want it to die.
right.
And so I've been really trying to condition myself to say, I want to do all these things. I call myself a multi hyphenate. That only became honestly out of necessity, not because I felt like I don't want to do it. You know how wonderful life would be for me if all I could do is direct and act? Baby,
Mhm.
listen, that is my goal
Mhm,
in life at some point,
mhm,
where that is what I am here to do.
right.
Everything else is consultation. No, you
Mhm.
cannot pick my brain, but yes, you can pick your price. Like that is where I'm trying to get.
You know, you said something, and thank you for what's really dope about you is awareness. I'm just gonna speak on that. You know, when I
Very
hear
much so self-aware.
yeah the question about balance, when I hear balance, I don't look at like a scale and say, all right, it's even. I kind of look at, you know, what are you able to do that will help counteract that friction that's happening in the moment, you know? And the thing that you keep saying, which I love, which is that connected to being aware. You know, when I'm there, I do this. When I, you know, when this happens, I'm able to, you know, I know I'm not sleeping, so I'm going to turn this on, or I know to take a mental break. And so, you know, to me, in essence, that's a level of balance in the brain world that I'm thinking, you know, not necessarily where it's an even scale, but, you know, this is happening, this is at this level. I need to do this to bring this down here, you know, or it's so much that I need to take a break. I need to step away. You know
Baby,
what I'm
I will go
saying?
lay in my bed in a minute. Like I'm the type of person, if it gets too much
Hmm.
and I feel too like frenetic or
Yeah.
anxious, I will take off my
Hmm.
clothes and go lay in my bed. Or I
Yeah.
will make my
Shut
way
it
home
down.
and go lay in my bed and try
Right.
again tomorrow.
Hey.
And with no shame. And finally I'm at a place where I don't feel guilty. I used to feel really guilty
Mm.
when I
And
wanted to do that.
rest
And
is
I felt like I was
productive.
running.
Rest is
Hmm.
productive.
Yeah.
I felt like I was running though. In my mind, I was running away. I was running away from what I was supposed to be doing. I was running away from what was hard.
Mm.
And then I
Mhm.
realized, no, I was recharging.
Mm.
They say everything
Mhm.
will, just
And
about
wait.
anything will work if you plug it out and plug it back in.
Right.
Yes.
Especially
Love that.
me. Especially
Yes.
me. I'm gonna plug out. I'm sorry, I'm Caribbean. We say plug out. I'm gonna plug out from this world or unplug. Sorry, that's the
Can you
American
say
way.
it? Can you
Unplug.
say it in the Caribbean way?
No, you're
You're
gonna
gonna plug out.
plug out.
I love it.
Love it.
Right?
I love
And
it.
so I'm gonna
No
plug
doubt.
out. I'm
Hmm.
gonna lay down,
Hmm.
and then I'm gonna get up and try again tomorrow or later
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm
I
Hey,
love
I
not gonna
love it.
feel
that.
guilty about it.
And
You
not feel
know?
guilty about it. Go ahead, Wink. I was gonna ask them. Go ahead. I
No,
feel like you was about to say
no, no.
something.
We're good. I have so we both have so much, and we
I
have like
know.
almost a little over 10 minutes. So I do want to end on one note, but um, I did want to say, Okema, one of the things that to me is impressive in this space, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, is the awareness, and I keep going there because not everyone is aware, right? We come in, we kind of have a internal system we don't even realize. It's just how we've gotten to where we are, you know. And sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's healthier than other times, and sometimes it's just we're just ineffective, you know. And so you kind of have that awareness, and to me that speaks to, and I know you had referenced this earlier, that you have someone that you speak to from time to time or whatever. You have a therapist. Thanks for
Mhm.
sharing
I'm
that. Thanks for that
looking
vulnerability.
for a new one
Okay.
because my therapist is no longer in my network, and the way that these slow jobs are set up,
Mm.
I can't afford where she's going. And I'm very like it's the breakup was hard for me.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it
of
was like
course.
it was almost as hard as like my
Real.
breakup
Yeah.
last year. It was almost as hard as my romantic breakup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was
It's a
hard.
relationship.
It
Because
And
is.
it's
sometimes
a
those relationships
therapeutic
are hard to find.
relationship, but it's still yeah, it's a therapeutic relationship, but it's still a
It
relationship.
Absolutely.
literally is the most
Still a
productive
relationship.
relationship that wasn't familial that I've had in like a
Yeah.
decade.
Yeah.
So
So
you know, go ahead.
we'll make that's going to be a conversation we'll have a follow up on, because we want to make sure that we can share some of the resources that we have, and hopefully there's something that works in that space.
Yeah.
My question was leading to how long did it take for you to become comfortable with saying, "Hey, I'm okay with working with a therapist," and enough to help me grow as a person?
I've been in and out of therapy since I was 10. And
Mm.
I come from a family that doesn't necessarily believe in therapy,
Hmm.
but I also am the survivor of childhood sexual assault, young adult sexual assault, adult sexual assault. And so with that, as a child, it was because I didn't know how to tell. I was too scared to tell. So I was acting out and like that wasn't my norm. And so it got to the point where my mother was just like, you gonna go talk to somebody if I kill you in here. Like that was kind of what that was.
Caribbean parent. No.
Listen. Right. And
All black
so, and
parents, but Caribbean for
my
sure.
mama worked on righteous. I was afraid of her.
Wow.
I was very afraid of
Mhm,
her.
mhm,
And rightfully so.
mhm,
So that was more of a had to happen so that we could both find a way to exist in the house together
Together.
kind of
indeed,
thing.
indeed.
But as an adult, I just was tired of being angry. I was so mad inside and I didn't know what to do with it. And it was coming out in so many self-destructive ways as a young adult. From unhealthy promiscuity to just falling for every man that smiled at me and made me feel special, to all kinds of stuff, like to being overly friendly with my friends and doing everything to buy their love and buy their, like, it was just people pleasing. It was a lot of stuff. And I just got to a point when I got to be it actually, the biggest moment I knew that, it was 2017. I had just lost Siddiqui Fofana, which was like a little brother to me in the industry. And then Nelson Ellis had passed away, and he was like a brother to me too. And then I had another death in the family that same like month. And then my mother and I had a huge blow up, and I became estranged from her. And then the person that I thought I was gonna move in with, I found out had a whole secret family, sac passe. And so
Wow.
it was like I was done.
Yeah.
And so I was afraid, being a survivor of suicide, I was just afraid of doing it and not failing the next time.
Yeah.
And so I called up a coach that I knew and was like, listen, I need you to check me into somewhere because I'm afraid for myself and whoever's around me. And it was a black woman, and I called her in tears. I was bawling. I was a mess. And she was like, I understand where you are, but I will not. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, because I can't promise I can get you out.
Yeah.
Because all they have to do is look you up. You're Googleable. I know that's a word, right? Like they can
We know
Google
what
you
you
and see
mean.
the right. They can see what you've done. They can look in your history and see the family and the stock you come from, and they're going to do everything they can medicinally to figure out how you got there and how they can study you.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is what happens in a lot of these institutions with especially Black women. I mean, come on,
Yeah, and
Henrietta Lacks,
that's
yada
the
yada.
truth. So we
And
thank God
so
for her.
I mean, she's literally saved my life. But then
Yeah.
she was like, but come to me and we will work. And
Yeah.
I always say that December 20th, 2017 is my rebirth
Birthday.
day. That is the first day of that year that I felt like anything remotely close to myself again. And I have not, no matter how hard, and life has been very hard since then, off and on,
Yeah.
but I've not since then had a suicidal
Yeah.
ideation. I've not since then had an idea that I don't belong on this planet. I sometimes wonder where on this planet I belong, but
Yeah.
I've
But
no
your
longer
mind
said that I
doesn't go
don't
to that
belong on the
distress.
planet as a whole.
Yeah. Your mind doesn't.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so, and after walking away from my wedding 2 months before I was supposed to say I do, as someone who nobody has ever said I want you forever to me before. So it was the hardest thing I had to do after being unemployed. Then I walked away from it. I didn't have my forever was gone, like, and I still didn't want to take myself out. I knew I was better. That's when I knew I was better. But it all started in 2017 with that particular therapist and coach.
Yeah.
And then she went through a very messy divorce, and she came to me and said, I am no longer fit to deal with you because I have to go deal with you.
Self-awareness professionally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
That emotional
I was
intelligence we were talking about.
so much in a good space that I then began to love on her as a friend. And our relationship went from therapist to client to girlfriend. Hey, are you eating? Hey, do you need anything? hey, are you all right?
Mm-hmm.
And now she's doing so much better, but it would be weird to go back to the client because we're
Mm-hmm.
so, it wouldn't be
Mhm.
appropriate.
Right.
But, I now am in a place where I'm like, when I know I need to go, as they say, when I need to go talk to the lady, I need to go talk to the lady. And so I'm just
Yeah.
looking for a new lady, or preferably a lady, new lady to talk to.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, thank you so much for just
Yeah.
being so open, being so vulnerable
Yes.
about
Yeah.
your journey
Mm-hmm.
and what it is that you've experienced. And it's just my hope that whoever is watching it now or will watch the replay will just glean from your journey
Mm-hmm.
and see how your journey can be used for their survival and shifting them from surviving to thriving.
Right.
So I just appreciate you for that. And I do have one final question because you shared and was open about your therapeutic journey personally, being the production therapist for your directorial debut
Mm-hmm.
for laundry, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing the necessity for having onset mental health support from pre-production to post-production, from your experience in this industry, and now seeing that we have this option available to us to have persons come in, right, like myself, to give support to the cast and crew. What are your thoughts about the importance of that, knowing what happens behind the scenes and getting some of our favorite films made?
It is literally, it should be a non-negotiable. The same way that sound, a good DP, a good director, great actors are non-negotiable. Having someone there as emotional support should also be non-negotiable. Because the thing about it is, people are now very acclimated to the idea of an intimacy coordinator. And what people don't realize is ICs are not just for sex scenes. They are there for emotional intimacy as well as and wellness, not just sexual interaction or physical interaction and touch approval. And so if you are working on something that is really heavy, understanding that you are still responsible for that actor when they leave your set, if they're coming back to your set, and how they were dealt with on that set, or how the material may have worked with them on that
Hmm.
set. So having a production therapist in conjunction with an intimacy coordinator, because back in the day, intimacy coordinating used to fall on wardrobe most of the time, because the wardrobe supervisor or the wardrobe person was dressing and intimately touching and interacting with that person. So the director or whomever or producer would come over to the wardrobe person and be like, so we need them to kiss. Can you see if they like? And so
Wow.
honestly, a lot of wardrobe and stunt people were the de facto you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But now we've gotten to a place where people understand the lines of delineation between the roles. And we have to understand that if you're doing something with trauma in it, you need to assess what you need to make sure that your actors give you the performances that they
Mm-hmm.
need, but that you are also giving them support underneath that, and you're undergirding their performance with an exit plan. Because I remember working on a film way before there was intimacy coordinators and all of that. And I had an actor that literally got sucked into he was playing an addict, and he's never been a drug addict in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So when he had to do the snort scenes, he was using B12. But it was a very dark character. And he came to me, fortunately, he trusted me as his co-director. And he was like, yo, my spirit feels so dark. And for me, knowing that he was a believer, when we were finished rehearsal, I just put everybody out and we were in a dark room. I held his hands and I prayed for him in the spirit because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what to say.
Right.
Like my
Yeah.
personal human self, I didn't want to mess him up. So
Right.
I figured if I prayed for him in tongues, if I prayed in the spirit, then it'd be
Yeah.
between me and God and it'd be right. Because Okema would jack it up.
Yeah.
And after that session, he said he felt lighter. He said he felt better. He was able to kind of get out of the character easier. And I know that that wasn't me, that was God, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now there would be a you to come in. I mean, I might still pray over the boy because,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
because prayer is
there
powerful.
would
Yes.
there would still be a you to come in and follow that up with true therapy and whatever. We were just like God was just graceful enough to utilize those prayers to pull him
To
out, but
pull
that's
him
not
out.
always going to be the case. And then what if it's not a believer? Or what if the director's not a believer? Or, these
It's a
days,
lot of
if you're working on a
nuances that,
studio,
yeah.
right, but if you're working on a studio film, that wouldn't have even been like appropriate.
Mm,
So like the religious aspect wouldn't have been appropriate. So
mm,
like now there are the U's and the intimacy coordinators
Yeah.
of the space that will come in and support those hard times
mm,
for whomever,
mm,
writer, director, actor,
mm.
Yes.
producer, extra,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yes.
so that you get the great film on celluloid, but you also get great people that are still able to produce
Right.
just
Mhm.
light when
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I want to thank you, Okema. This is, man, I wish we had 2 hours. Do they still cut people off after an hour? Tell me.
Uh-huh.
Do
Oh,
you
I
know,
don't know.
Okema?
No.
You've
I don't
done
go
enough of
live. I
these.
don't know.
I see you on here I see you on live like every other day. So
Not at
I
all.
figured if anybody knows, you know.
Not at all. No,
Well,
you don't.
if we do get disconnected, I do want people to follow up. Laundry is a film. It's an amazing film. It's a great film story of a wonderful family. Um, Alteric Miller is the writer and creator who's come up with this brilliant story. And, we were gracious enough to be able to work with him, from the capacity that we have. Candace Washington, production therapist, Okema Timor, both writer and producer, myself, producer. We've man, amazing actors. Like this whole process, the whole team is amazing, right? Danielle Monet Truitt, one of our leads. She's also an executive producer. Tobias Trevelyan, also one of our leads, executive producer. Aaron Kinsley, amazing young
Arlene
man.
Magruder,
Not to
Lamar
mention all,
Sessions.
not to mention all the accolades from all the nominations from NAACP Image Award to Emmy Image Award nominations, right? For all the folks that I mentioned outside of Candace and myself so far. Al has some of the folks that he's brought on, like the DP Una. Oh gosh, her last name, she'll kill me if I completely
Lee.
forget. Somebody help me out.
It's Una Lee.
Lee, oh my gosh, I should know that, right? Una, to Crystal, who's our editor, to, just so many people that have been on the team. I know I've probably missed a lot of different names. I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge, the great work that has went into this amazing piece of art. And because of, everyone that's been involved, we've been able to garner, and congratulations, Okema Timor, for her director
Yes.
debut and earning, her first award, through ABFF, the African American, oh gosh, American Black Film
American
Festival.
Black
There
Film
you go,
Festival.
American Black Film Festival. The directors showcase. I think it's called Fatherhood United. And
The
God,
Black
okay,
and
you
Unlimited
handle that part.
Fatherhood. It's
Go
fine.
ahead.
It's the third annual Black and Unlimited Fatherhood
Yeah,
Project. It's a
yes,
directorial showcase.
yes, and sponsored
Sponsored
through
by
Nice Crowd and Walmart.
Walmart. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
we're excited to have this film. It was entered and we won that showcase. We're also a part of Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. We just learned of a new one.
It's a
Mental.
mental health one.
Yes, yes,
United.
yes, yes,
Is it
yes.
United We Heal?
Yes,
United.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of great things that have been happening with it. We just want to acknowledge the great work, and we're excited. And Okema, thanks for being a part of that stuff, and also some of the other stuff that I know that you have coming up as well. I know that you have other films that are in these festivals and other things that are under wraps. So, we just want to encourage everyone to keep up with Okema Timor. Make sure they go
Yeah.
to your website and your Instagram page, and make sure you're following her. She's really an amazing talent. I appreciate, you agreeing to be a part of the project that we worked on.
Thank you
Um,
for
you know,
having me.
yeah, yeah, this has been an amazing, I'm just so happy for where we are right now in that process. So, and Candace Washington, thank you for yourself and all the great stuff that you always continue to do as a production
It's an
I'm gonna
honor.
therapist.
steal them
It's
dimples.
a
I'm gonna just take them and
There
put them
you
in my
go. Just
pocket.
smile. That's all. Just smile. Just
Take them and put
everybody's
them in my
finished.
pocket.
Yeah,
I
but with
appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for embracing me.
Candace, and
indeed.
thank you. I just want to say out loud, like, working on something as emotional as laundry was a lot for all of us, right?
Mhm.
And Candace, for me specifically, Candace was such a safe space to vent, to ask questions, to be corrected and adjusted. And she was just really helpful for me in the process. I was working with a new team I wasn't really familiar with. And while they were wonderful, not being familiar and it being emotional and it being new and, the pressure of like not wanting to jack it up because it's somebody's actual life, like all of those things made it very heavy in certain times. And Candace was the person that I would like sit on her bed. Like we were all staying at the same place. I would sit on her bed late at night, like, girl. And so, thank you so much for being a safe space and just a support system for me in that process. And clearly we see that it worked out.
Yes, it
And
did.
just thank you so much for following up after the fact and making sure that I was good even after the fact
Mhm.
and still staying in touch and encouraging. And Wink, I tell you all the time, you saw me in that space before I saw me in that space. And
Mm,
bringing me in, I was nervous as hell, but I also knew that because I was so nervous I cared a lot.
Mhm.
And so I made sure that
yes.
I came as prepared as possible with my A game
Mhm.
and as much flexibility as I could muster in the moments.
Mhm.
And, thank you for being a creative partner in that, not just our EP, not just another producer, not just, my hip pocket manager, but, a creative partner. And so I really appreciate that as well because, neither of you had to do any of that or had to see me, care about me, take care of me, and you did, and you continue to. And so just I want to publicly say that in your forum that, these are two people that don't just talk the talk, they actually walk the walk. And if you're blessed enough to be in community with either of them, just know you're in good hands.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm
we appreciate
speechless. I
that.
appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for just being the amazing woman that you are in all ways because you're just so dope. And I think, when you came on set, you're the director, right? So you have to rally everything and everyone in, but knowing that you deserve a space to just be Okema and to breathe and knowing that you can still be dope in the midst of everything that you're doing. I think it just speaks to you because you could have had your defense mechanisms up and those, guards up, but
I mean,
you
I
allowed yourself
did.
to
In the
be.
beginning, I did. I had to chisel some of my stuff away too. I don't want the people to think I walked in just, I did not. I did not.
Hmm.
But the environment was productive enough for me to learn that I was okay and I didn't have to be so guarded.
Right. And again, that awareness that you just,
Yeah, spoke
going,
about
knowing
that.
that, you had to bring it back a little. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being a part of our journey to normalize mental health and entertainment. Thank you so much for coming
Yes.
out. You are the bomb. We'll see you soon.
Guys,
Appreciate
y'all,
you.
take care of yourselves.
All right.
This and this,
Yes.
get them together.
No doubt. Oh, yes, the synergy. Indeed. All right, be well.